If you've ever opened a journal article and felt overwhelmed, you're not alone. Research articles aren't meant to be read straight through like a novel, and most students are never taught how to read them strategically. In this video, I'll show an approach to reading articles that will help you to quickly understand what a paper is about and whether it's relevant to your work. Let's get started. Most journal articles use the classic IMRD structure, which stands for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. These 4 sections make up the core of a research article. Each section has unique features, so if you read with an anticipation of these features, you'll be able to read the article more quickly and understand more. Beginning with the abstract, this section will be the first and perhaps most important section of the paper, as it summarizes its most important features. It contains the purpose of the study, its methodology, results, and conclusion. It's basically like a research paper in a paragraph. The next part of the paper is its introduction. This serves 2 purposes. First, to hook readers' interest in the topic, and second, to provide enough contextual information for readers to understand the article. Usually, the introduction is followed by a lengthy literature review section, sometimes titled Theoretical Foundations or Background. The length of this varies by journal, but for many articles, it could take up to a third or even half of the whole paper. When you're reading this section, it's important to understand which theories or past research the authors are referencing and why they're important, and the author's justification for their research questions or hypotheses. Doing so helps you understand the prior research that has been conducted and the rationale for the study you're reading. The methods section explains how the study was conducted. Usually it describes participants and procedures like how the data was collected and what analyses were used. Look for the research design. Is it an observational study with surveys, a controlled experiment, or something else? Then look for the measures subsection. This part explains what constructs the researchers are trying to measure, and skimming this can help you understand which relationships or theories the authors are testing. The most challenging part of a research paper may be its results section. Here you encounter technical statistical language, like the names of different tests, weird Greek symbols and stars next to numbers, and overwhelming displays of data that may make you want to quit research there and then. This is where having knowledge of statistics helps you a lot with interpreting results. This section also maps into the hypotheses you saw in the intro. Look for statements like, to test hypothesis 2, we did blank and found blank. There is usually a very helpful paragraph summarizing the important results, especially for longer papers, and reading this summary paragraph carefully will be very important. You can usually find it at the very end of the results section or the very beginning of the discussion section. Finally, the discussion section contains the implications and explanations of the article's findings. It situates the findings in a broader context, discussing theoretical and practical implications. It ultimately answers the research question proposed at the beginning of the article. This section usually contains future directions, which is a subsection that tells you what the authors think future studies should do. Some articles you read will deviate from the conventional IMRD structure. You often see this structure in empirical articles, which are distinct from theoretical papers or literature reviews. For example, a theoretical paper doesn't have a methods or results. Instead, it will conduct a literature review, usually propose a theoretical model, then spend the rest of the paper describing that model in detail. You'll see authors listing out propositions, which are similar to hypotheses except they're broader and they aren't empirically tested in a theory paper. Now that you know what's inside a research article, let's talk about how to read it effectively. First, you should screen the article. Read the title twice, once fast, another time slowly, thinking about the meaning of the words. Then, find the keywords and read them. Next, identify the journal and make sure it's credible. Different fields will have different ways of evaluating the quality of a journal, so best practice would be to ask your faculty advisor which ones to look out for. Then, find the date of publication. The date may or may not be relevant depending on what your topic is. For instance, if your topic is related to tech in psych or methods in psych, it may be best to see what the latest articles are saying. Read the abstract once, looking for key insights. Then read it slowly until it makes sense. Read the introduction. The intro will have many citations, some of which are seminal to your understanding of the topic. If you see a citation that's super relevant to you, go to the references section in the bottom and save the article for future reference. Afterward, peruse the figures and tables. You may not understand them at first glance, but they will help you to know what to look out for when you read the article. Next, jump to the discussion section. Read the first few paragraphs, where you'll likely find a summary of the results, and read the last few paragraphs, where you'll likely find the suggested future research directions. Or if it's short and easy to read, just read the whole thing.
Now you're ready for your first read-through. Skim the abstract and intro one more time. At this point, you should have a better understanding of them. Next, skim the methods section. Read all the results section. If you don't understand some results, ask for help. Read all of the discussion section and study the figures and tables.
Now that we know how to read a research article, let's learn a few strategies to help you with your reading. Here are some suggestions to help you identify the author's main points. At the document level, key points are located in the title, abstract, keywords, visuals, and the first or last 1 or 2 sentences of the introduction. At the paragraph level, look for words like surprising and unexpected, and phrases like in contrast to previous work, has seldom been addressed, and other phrases on the screen. Reading should be an active task. Before and during your reading, ask questions like, am I spending too much time reading the less important parts of this article? Or, have I taken the time to understand all the terminology? After the reading, ask questions like, what are the specific findings? How do these results relate to the work I'm interested in? And how are the findings unique to other work in the field? Well, that's how you read a research paper. Know that there's no right way to read one. You don't have to follow each step in order. Feel free to read the methods section before the discussion if it helps, or look at the visuals right after the abstract if that helps. Focus on the strategies that let you move through the article quickly while still grasping the main ideas. Read efficiently, but don't lose understanding. That wraps it up for this training video. I hope to see you guys in the next one.